What do you do with a crazy congressman? That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. Last year, the good people of Orlando, Florida, elected Democrat Alan Grayson to serve them in Congress. Since that time, Mr. Grayson has developed a reputation as a nut. N-U-T, nut. Here's why. The guy simply had a control. We begin with Grayson calling Linda Robertson, an aide to Ben Bernanke, a whore.
I am the only member of Congress who actually worked as an economist. And she's this lobbyist, this K Street whore, is trying to teach me about economics.
Fox News and their Republican collaborators are the enemy of America.
Grayson's spokesman told Politico the whore remark simply reflected the congressman's opinion that Ms. Robertson had sold her soul for financial gain. A lame excuse. Now, last night in Florida, President Obama said this.
We've got some wonderful other elected officials that I want to acknowledge very briefly. 3 outstanding members of Congress from Florida who are here. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Kendrick Meeks, Alan Grayson.
All right, now the president was playing politics, obviously, but Grayson is not an outstanding member of Congress. He's an embarrassment. And this is the problem. President doesn't seem to understand that radical people are not acceptable to most Americans. Paging Reverend Wright. In just a few moments, Monica Crowley will spotlight Judge Edward Chen, nominated for a lifetime federal judgeship by the president. Judge Chen's another far-left guy who has said some amazing things. Monica will run him down, but here's a sample. After hearing the song America the Beautiful played, Chen said, quote, "Sometimes I cannot help but feel that there are too much injustice and too many inequalities that prevent far too many Americans from enjoying the beauty extolled in that anthem," unquote. So maybe we should rename the song America the Unfair. By the way, Judge Chen is a former staff attorney for the ACLU, an excellent credit in the age of Obama. Now, the White House gets furious with Fox News for reporting on far-left guys like Congressman Grayson and Judge Chen. We get it. They don't like it. But radicalism seems to be acceptable to the president, and that is becoming a major problem. And that's a memo. Now, for the top story tonight, reaction joining us from Washington, Democratic Congressman Joe Sestak from Pennsylvania and Anthony Weiner from New York. So where am I going wrong here, Congressman Weiner?
Well, I think that, frankly, it makes a lot of different voices have the world go around. I think Alan Grayson is a good congressman. I think he went too far with this comment, and I think that he would admit that.
But why does he do it time after time after time? Look, anybody can have a slip of the tongue. Anybody can make a mistake. You have, I have, and we forgive that.
No, but here's the thing. He's making an argument about health care that's not wrong. That the Republican plan of doing nothing is indeed killing people.
That's fine.
I don't think that's wrong.
Nobody has a beef with that. The point of the matter
is we have both sides here, but let me say this. We have people on both sides who believe that in this age of media being what it is, the way to get attention is to say kind of things that are fairly outrageous.
To call a woman,
it does get them attention.
Could call a woman, Linda Robertson, a whore?
I've already stipulated that was too far. It was wrong.
All right, but what should happen? What should happen to Grayson for doing that? Should something happen to him, or is he just allowed to say Republicans want you to die, the woman's a whore, Fox News is this? Is he allowed to just do whatever he wants to do?
Yeah, it's up to his constituents. Now we're going to have to decide.
All right. What do you say, Congressman Sestak?
Well, you know, Bill, I come from a different place than most people who arrive down here. I was in the military 31 years, and I arrived down here, and it's the Hatfields and the McCoys, and I don't understand it. It's hard enough to talk to one another. You can't even have a beer with someone else. We've got to change this, and I sincerely believe that. Look, even Pat Toomey, who I agree with tremendously on every other one of issues, he and I had a debate, and it was a civil debate. This is why Americans are losing trust and confidence in us public officials. I joined up in the military in the early 70s. We were ranked 15 out of 15 by the Gallup poll that year in terms of public respect. I left there, we were #1. I came here, we're last. If we don't restore some civil debate down here, we aren't going to regain the most damaging thing to our nation. That's loss of trust.
You have to tell this guy to knock it off. If you want it, you know, he's in your party, you both should tell him. But look, let's get to the bigger picture here. Let's get to the bigger picture. President Obama seems to love these radical guys. I mean, the list is almost endless now. It's radical guy after radical guy after radical. Now we have Judge Chen. You can't get more radical than Judge Chen. Doesn't that hurt Obama with the moderate people, Congressman Weiner?
Well, let me just say this. First of all, based on what Congressman Sestak said, we should elect him to the Senate. I think he'd be a great influence in the Senate representing the people of Pennsylvania. But let me just say this. Look, I don't think it is fair or right for every person that speaks about any issue should somehow be President Obama's responsibility. The people of Central Florida are going to make...
He appointed him.
the people of Central Florida are going to have to decide on Grayson, and the members of the Senate are going to have to decide on Chen. I have to tell you something. You know, part of the thing is that people like you decry these voices on the fringes, and then we highlight them all day rather than the moderate voices like people like Congressman Sestak.
But it gets to be outrageous, Congressman Sestak, when the President of the United States has a resume of people that he associates with that are far-left kooks. I mean, look, he just said that Bill, Grayson is a great congressman hours after the guy calls a woman a whore. Come on.
We're the very first nation ever founded on principle, not power. And when you talked about this gentleman, Ed Chen, what he said, in the context of the time, he was worried about, in the long term, a turn towards racism. I saw it in my own district. Many Sikhs were coming in, and they were being accosted. There was an unfair rule that was even brought. And so my take is that, well, Bill, what you have to do every so often is hold up that mirror and say, no, that's not who we are. We're better than that. Suffrage, or the turning over Brown versus Board of Education.
You guys are killing me.
No, this guy is a guy about principle.
You guys are killing me. Okay, look, Chen is a radical leftist. There's no other way to describe him. He may get confirmed by the Democrats. He's a radical leftist. Okay, the congressman calls the woman a whore and then says, "Oh, I don't really mean she was a whore. She's just somebody who sold her soul for money." That's nice. Then you have the whole list. You go down the list of President Obama's radical friends, and you guys are telling me that we should be a more civil country. Shouldn't that come from the top, Anthony Weiner?
Yeah, well, look, I don't think you're hanging the words of Grayson on the shoulders of President Obama.
He just said he was a great congressman.
Let me ask you something. Let me ask you. Listen, how about this? Why don't we devote more segments on your show to people like Mr. Sestak and me, who are saying nothing but
Barney the dinosaur on the show? This is what's in play now. You got a crazy congressman and a radical judge, and Obama's supporting both of them. Come on, you guys.
Listen, but Bill, you have crazy people saying things all the time. You were making a decision on the most popular show on cable.
You don't have crazy people being praised by the president hours after he calls a woman lobbyist a whore. That doesn't happen.
But you just heard, I'm sure, just about half an hour ago, Steny Hoyer condemning the words that were spoken by Grayson.
Is Steny Hoyer president?
No, he's not. Okay. But let me also say this. As you hang this word radical on it, I think the better word you might want it to be used was progressive. Look, that's what America's been about. It's been about freedom. It's been about those staying out for suffrage, civil rights, about equality. And so when you get back to people like Chen, and I'm not arguing for Grayson's point, I think he's gone well overboard. But when you're arguing about the progress of America, you're talking about people who believe in the progressive movement, and that is not what you're characterizing as radicalism. It's just progress.
Chen's resume is radical left. That's all I can tell you. But look, you guys, I appreciate you taking...
in business, O'Reilly.
I appreciate you guys taking the fire. Weiner's a hockey player, so I know he can take it. And Congressman Sestak, we wish you the best in your run for the Senate in Pennsylvania. You guys are champs to come on, and we really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Next.